It has happened that money just came to your card and suddenly someone got sick, the car broke down, the washing machine broke down, and they immediately left. And then you think, yes, why are you so unlucky that you can't even save up some money? As soon as it comes, it immediately flies away. I'll explain why this happens. I believe in universal laws. Your energy is taken away when you haven't given enough. When you download something for free or don't pay for a service. Someone tells me, Peter, this service is offered from the heart. For example, you downloaded something for free or didn't pay for a service. You know, when someone tells me, Peter, this service is offered to you from the bottom of my heart. I say, no, stop, you don't have to. Here, take the money. Why? I just want to make you happy. I say, stop. If I don't pay you for your service right now, I'll end up losing either my health later on or something else just a little later, and that energy will flow back to you. You see, this is very important. You always need to pay for services. Somewhere I underpaid, especially for those who love free stuff. Where is the public page with free stuff? Free, it's free. You know, that whole thing. Don't do that. You can only do things for free for someone in need who requires help. There, according to the laws of the universe, it is permitted because he no longer has energy. You help him, but when you can pay, then be kind enough to pay or they will take it away from you. This applies to movies, series, books, basically everything, everywhere you look for something for free. Freebies are evil. Remember that, please. Like this if you agree.
It's all that. What is this person's motivation when he says everything? Why did she want it? What is the purpose of him saying all of this out loud? What is the purpose of emphasizing all of this? Here come the questions. So, do you agree with him?
Of course, indeed, in order. Money is energy.
Money is a manifestation of energy on a material level?
Yes. Why do some people have money while others don't? A person who works hard doesn't waste energy on pleasure. They invest it in achieving, creating, or even destroying, meaning they are the ones who work hard.
Who can do a lot of work, who doesn't invest their energy in pleasure? In pleasure, the years of enjoyment that invest it in achieving something, in creation, or even in destruction, meaning those who work hard. He will have money, like twice 24.
So is it correct to say in this case that a person can sometimes pay for their mistakes with money in life? And there's even, as they say, a saying about this in the community among the Jews.
Lord, thank you that it's with money, of course. And it's considered that in principle they are quite loyal to you. Reality, you got it as long as you didn't lose any money. Yes, we accumulate debts. Yes, having lived for some time in consumer mode, we lag behind. We owe our parents, no matter how bad they were. They weren't, because they created the conditions for your body to come into existence. We shouldn't link it to a multitude of different processes related to human life in this world. So we have debts. And these debts are formed simply through the process of our life activities. Sometimes you don't even need to be a parasite. And it is implied that if a person reveals his true nature, he pays a price with the surrounding reality. And it's not a matter of money. Also, where we owe on a material level, yes, you can buy your way out with money.
So in one way or another, the payment is still coming.
What mean by payment?
A person pays for their money? Payment.
I heard that there's a payment. Yes, of course, there's a price to pay. And it's believed that with money, when it's taken away from you, well, that's the best option. This is a bit different. This is about breaking the balance. That is, when a creditor comes to a person and takes something away by force, does that mean you've gone too far into parasitism, that you're in this state for too long? And he also pointed out correctly that reality is lenient towards that. Reality takes from you when you have something to take. And here, he also quite correctly noted that basically reality is generally quite loyal to that. And reality takes from you at the moment when you have something to take. If you owe money, reality will wait. But when you gain wealth, it will balance your situation by taking benefits. But as soon as you start acquiring wealth, yes, it will begin to take those benefits from you to harmonize your situation. In this space, this is a real thing. It's an actual process, absolutely.
Or, for example, it could be health. Could it be that a person pays the price, and if they don't have money, they pay with their health instead?
Well, no, health is part of a different process. Health suffers from lost vitality. When a person loses their vitality very quickly, so it's a violation of health. It's salvation, more subtle structures, because health is mainly disrupted in the physical body. So it's a disease of the physical, mainly illness occurs at the physical level. It stops illness at more subtle levels, destruction at more subtle levels.
What makes people different? Those who have money from those who don't.
Ability to give.
What could it be? What? Emotions, feelings, love.
You know, just yesterday, I have a person going through an individual session right now, initiation into Sri Yantra. And yesterday we were just talking about that, the same conversation, the same topic. Just turn on the camera, and record. This is essence of conversation. How to become successful, how to earn more. Topic of money. I say, you need to give more. I keep giving time. I say, whoa. I say, let's figure this out. And we start to work through it together. How does she keep giving all of this? She says, I give to my relative there. I say, well, tell me more about how you give to him. Well, there's one story there. I say, wait. But before that, there was another story where she says, I helped him. I say, so there was another story where he helped you. She's like, well, yeah, he helped me there, so now I'm giving back to him. I say, no, you're not giving back, you're paying off. You're paying off a debt. If you took a loan from the bank and then you pay that loan back to the bank, you're not giving it back. You compensate for what you've taken. This is a key point. She's like, okay, so I help my mom. I help my parents. And I help my dad too. I say, wait, you owe them. You're again repaying them a debt. Where's the giving here? There's no giving here. This is repayment, returning what was given to you with the hope that you'll actually return it. It's not yours. How can you give back what doesn't belong to you? You can only repay. Again, it doesn't fit. I thought and thought and thought. So she says, cats. I take care of them. I adopt from shelters. I help them. I create comfortable living conditions for them. I say, wow, this is already more interesting. This actually sounds like the truth. Because being in debt to a cat is hard, a manageable process. When you take an animal and give it benefits, this is already relevant to the matter. Almost certainly, you're giving her benefits. This is starting to be taken into account. Yes, this is already relevant to the matter. She asks me, Anton, how do you give back? You say, I don't get it. Give me an example of how you give back. I say, look, I have a deal with reality. I have a deal with reality. If someone randomly approaches me on the street just here in the crowd, I'm walking and someone approaches me and asks me for money. If I have the means, I give them the money. I don't care who this person is. I don't care what he's asking for money for. I don't care if he's lying to me or not. It doesn't matter to me at all. What matters to me is that he approached me, asked, and I have the means. Yes, there are situations when I don't have the means. Well, for example, I don't have cash on me, I only have cards. I then say I don't have the means right now, but there are moments when, for example, I have large bills. I have a lot of them, and in principle, giving away a large bill won't be a big deal for me. It's a significant financial loss. And then I give it, fully understanding that he's lying to me, for example. So what? It doesn't matter. I gave it and I don't care what he spends it on. I turn around and walk away. So I paid it off that way. I didn't pay it off. I made a donation. I gave it away. What was it spent on? How is everything set up there? I don't care. In this way, I proclaim the chair with reality. She says, oh, I have an example. She says, you know, there are grandmothers sitting near the church. I feel sorry for them, but I also give them some money. I say, but this example doesn't work. It doesn't fit. She asks how. What about grandpas? Where did you put the grandfathers? I say, what about people who smell bad and look unkempt? I mean, you don't give them anything either, right? No? They're kind of disgusting, so why give them anything? You're not giving back. You're not giving back. You're just comforting yourself because you judge first pity is special. And then you feel pity. Pity is self-importance. The person enjoys it. A sophisticated form of self-importance. So basically, a person is just getting pleasure. That's not giving back. It's a payment for your own pleasure. If she were to do that, without judgment, without analysis, without determining you are worthy and you are not worthy, I like you and I don't like you. But let's say there are people standing by the church, I would give to everyone, doesn't matter who's there. Well, those who ask, I came up, handed it out, and moved on. That is what giving back is. We figured that out. He says, wait, I know, I'm still giving it to you. Look, a stranger, he's in trouble, I go up and help him. I say, and no. Not that, I say, yes, why not that? I say, because it's your initiative, he didn't ask you. So you're just indulging yourself again? You're starting to do things that no one is asking you to do again. Yes, maybe he'll say thank you. But that's not an act of giving. This is an act of your personal relationships. So if a person is sitting there, feeling sad, suffering, you swoop in, show your initiative, and start to make him happy. Do you even know why he's suffering? Where's the line between helping and enabling? Maybe the person is to blame. You're basically saying you're not to blame, everything's fine. He's suffering. You go up to him, you're suffering. A crowd asks, why? You go up to him, oh, come on, I'll let you out, I'll help you. Well, you're suffering, right? And then a crowd comes and says, what are you doing? He killed one, injured another, and stabbed a third. Why did you let him out? He was suffering. So you see, these things, when you start to approach them consciously, you're like, well, yeah, that's how it is. And when you do it unconsciously, it seems to you like you're giving something.
Is it correct to say that you need to maintain this balance of taking and giving in any case?
Of course, you need to maintain the balance. If you don't want to give back, you'll be compelled. You'll still maintain it, even if it's forced by reality. If you don't want to give back voluntarily, then you'll be forced to do so. And there's no escaping that. You can't escape from that. We can give not only on a material level, not just in terms of money. We can give through our mental qualities, through mental actions, through mental strength. We can give energy. And here it's a completely different level of play. A person starts to say, he knows how to give on an energetic level. For example, before certainly turning my activities into work, I taught a lot. I just taught, I just practiced. I was just building my skills. The skill and the people who practiced with me back then, they didn't pay for it in any way. Yes, those are matters from long ago, but I did a lot of work back then without any return. It was work for giving.
In order to truly give, you need to have that state of abundance and resourcefulness to share it. How do you reach that state?
There is no abundance. You shouldn't give, you need to save yourself. You're completely different.
How do you reach that state of fullness, of abundance, from which you can actually share?
To imitate God. To strive to be like Him. To burn and to flow. Look, we have the sun in the sky. The sun chooses who to shine on and who not to shine on. The sun shines on everyone. That's true. So, somewhere in the forest, on a clearing, a maniac is dismembering his victim and the sun is shining on him. This is unconditional giving. And someone is lying on the beaches somewhere in the Maldives, enjoying life, and the sun is shining on them. This is unconditional giving. The sun is neither a judge nor an executioner. It exists in a state of burning and flowing. That's when a person starts to take an example to follow. In matter, this is a star. At the level of energy, this is the state of the Creator, God, the original, the absolute. If he starts to imitate and do the same, he enters a state of continuous giving. We have energy centers. Most people aren't fed with bread. They just want to squeeze, silence, and completely encapsulate those centers. Because there are 1,000 reasons why, and everyone justifies you. And in the end, the center itself doesn't work, and the process doesn't move. And it's a state of being when, regardless of what is happening in the outside world, you are overflowing. Energy is constantly radiating from you. You are like a star. You are like the sun. You don't judge. You don't choose. You are simply in that state. You are on fire. And the practices that I demonstrate one way or another lead to this state. And the practices called the fiery pillar are exactly that state when you are burning, just permanently. Regardless of what is happening around you, you are in a state of permanent giving. You are always giving. You are just alive, and because you are alive, you are already giving. The balance in your relationship with the surrounding reality gets so skewed that the surrounding reality simply runs out of ways to give to you. And they say, well, what else do you need? You say, well, maybe here. Like, yeah, I don't really want more. Shh, wait, I like this. And here, this is for you too. Because the balance is structured differently. You are constantly giving. And when you are constricted, compressed, when nothing is moving, nothing is speaking, you cling to money, afraid to spend it. How do you get out of that state into abundance? You need to save yourself.
How can this be? The flow of giving is influenced by beliefs or ancestral ones. Some programs, they somehow have a stream of interconnection.
Frames, oh my, we had it in childhood. So you go through your mind in the morning and you don't need any programs. Look around at the surrounding reality. To grab greedily, to steal, to hide. Not to give away for free, right? He was talking about all sorts of endless torrents and file sharing services. Aren't you almost a hero if a person stole, for example, something created and I gave it all to Kolev?
What happens to a person if they don't give? So they don't share, they are greedy, or they just accumulate.
Resources are running out. He is drying up. He loses the ability to grow. He loses the ability to increase his wealth.
So that's why people engage in charity, among other things.
Yes, that's partly true. If we take sincere charity, and not just some money laundering or the masking of bribes, if it's sincere charity, if it's charity on request, then yes. For example, well, there are different situations, right? But if someone comes to you and asks for help, at the very least, you should look for a way to do what you can for them. But if you're like that yourself, then I'll help, I guess, right here, because there are 100,000 reasons. Well, most likely it won't be a sincere process. It won't have the effect that you would want.
There's also the opinion that if a person is engaged in something, some kind of activity, hobbies, work, and pleasures, and if this is somehow, let's say, their calling, then money comes automatically. What is the overall perspective on this situation? Is there a connection?
When a person is doing what brings them joy, money will definitely come to them. But it won't be some crazy money. A person earns a lot where they usually won't survive. These are tough. Usually won't survive at all, just won't survive. These are very tough, serious processes. I can say this from my own experience. So I set a goal for myself. I have one goal, and that is my intention. But to realize my intention, I have an understanding of how to do it. So there is learning in my mind, and there is learning in the process of realizing my intention. And so for realization, the way I learned, a space for practice is necessary. You won't be able to realize the light body on the 11th floor of a high rise. It's very difficult to do that. Why complicate things? You can create a special place, a home, a temple, whatever you want to call it. Where can this be done? It will be much easier. And to do that, you need to earn money for it. Because it's obvious that no one will build it for you for spiritual development. And by the time you build it yourself, you'll grow old. Because it's a complex structure. I'm working hard right now. And this work I teach, it pays off. I'm gradually getting closer to realizing the construction of a house for my ancestors. There are people who look at me and say, oh, he's doing great. We want that too in their lives. They come to me so that I can teach them to this mastery, so that they can also go and start teaching. I can almost immediately see those kinds of people. Do I refuse to teach them? No. I teach them just like everyone else. And then we sit together and have a good laugh. When will they try to do what I do on their own? And suddenly it turns out that they have, of course, learned about energy. But when they try, the teachers say, how do you handle all of this? That's unreal. We just need to spread ourselves out. How do you do that? How can you talk to the camera for 6 hours? How can you take in so many people? How do you even show energy when 20, 30 people come in and just overwhelm us? How does all of this happen? I say, how? I work hard. I have this mastery. I've learned it. So it's only from the outside. It seems like a person is just sitting there and everything is going well for them. I'm not just talking about myself. So in everything, anyone with wealth bears a burden. Even a criminal, they carry a load. Anyone, even if it's a gangster, a thief, or a con artist, they carry a huge burden. It's just that this burden is not socially accepted.
So it turns out that you need to learn to handle this burden first.
You need to be like a belt. We don't bend. Will, intention, determination, fire in the heart. Without fire in your heart, you'll be blown away by the first breeze. There must be fire. Sincerity is key. Because if you're insincere, society will reject you very quickly. And they'll say that you're not saying the right thing, that you're being fake. You need to be sincere. You're fake. You need to be sincere. And if you're sincere, you have to be impeccable. How can I speak sincerely about practices that I don't do at all? It's a chain of actions that seem pretty simple. But as soon as a person who isn't prepared for these actions just tries to live in that mode, suddenly it becomes clear, right? Why you have such prices. It suddenly becomes clear, right? Why do you have such prices? I'm saying, what about the prices? Why do you have such prices? I'm asking, what about the prices? I'm asking, when did you do all of this absolutely for free? Without any prices at all. And I did it, and the load was no less. You need to understand this. You need to be aware of it. If a person claims to have huge financial resources, then that will come with a huge burden, a huge effort, and very serious inner willpower qualities are implied, not just willpower, energy qualities.
Which need to be developed.
Which, yes, will simply transform into money. But if you have nothing to transform into money, where will you get them from? So at first I was moving forward. I know there are different ways, but personally I was moving forward. I first revved up my energy, got my processes going, and then with those processes, I stepped into society. I said, guys, look what I can do. Society, guys, look what I can do. And sometimes it happens that a person doesn't represent anything at all, immediately steps into society. Life becomes very diverse suddenly, but if he survives, he becomes a serious person. If he doesn't survive, he ends up like so many did in the 90s. And they are skilled. They have something to show for themselves now.
I thank you, Anton, for your answers. Make sure to write down your impressions and questions. Maybe we'll answer them in the next video.
Do you want to unlock your inner strength and learn to manage energy? The course, Power of Consciousness 1. Practical Energy will provide you with tools to improve health, develop intuition, and gain a deeper understanding of the world. Join and start changing your life right now. Link in the description.